Hello and welcome back to Literate Channel's UGC NET Literature Concept Series. I'm Kannan Prasad and today we are exploring another essential literary theory that has appeared in previous UGC NET exams. Today's concept is Feminist Criticism. This theory appeared in the July 2016 examination and falls under our Critical Theory and Thinkers cluster. Let's examine Feminist Criticism, the term. The term combines feminist, referring to advocacy for women's rights, and criticism, the analysis and judgment of literature. While proto-feminist writing exists throughout literary history, feminist criticism as a formalized approach emerged in the late 1960s and 1970s, coinciding with the second wave of feminism. It has since evolved through several phases and remains a vital critical approach today. Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own, published in the year 1929, is often considered a foundational text, though systematic feminist literary criticism began with works like Kate Millet's Sexual Politics, published in the year 1970, which examine patriarchal attitudes in male writers' work. The field was further developed by critics like Sandra Gilbert and Susan Gubar in The Mad Woman in the Attic, and Ellen Showalter's concept of gynocriticism in Towards a Feminist Poetics. Simply put, feminist criticism is a literary approach informed by feminist theory that examines literature through the lens of gender and power relations. Key features of feminist criticism include focus on gender as a fundamental category of literary analysis. It examines how literature constructs and represents gender. Another key feature is that it challenges patriarchal assumptions in literature and also in literary criticism. Recovery and re-evaluation of women's writing is also one of the key features of feminist criticism. Analysis of how gender intersects with race, class, and sexuality is also yet another key feature of feminist criticism. For UGC NET, remember that feminist criticism fundamentally focuses on gender construction and rejects the canonical marginalization of women writers as correctly identified in the July 2016 examination. Let's explore some influential works and concepts in feminist criticism. Sandra Gilbert and Susan Gubar's The Mad Woman in the Attic, published in the year 1979, examines 19th century women's literature through a feminist lens. They argue that female characters in literature written by women often represent the author's rage against patriarchal constraints. Their analysis of Bertha Mason in Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre as Jane's dark double exemplifies this particular approach. Ellen Showalter introduced the concept of gynocriticism, which focuses specifically on women as writers and the development of a female literary tradition. She identified three phases in women's writing history: the feminine, the feminist, and the female. For more information, watch the video on gynocriticism in the same series. French feminist critics like Hélène Cixous, in essays such as The Laugh of the Medusa, published in 1975, developed the concept of la creature féminine, or women's writing, arguing for a distinctly female mode of textual expression that disrupts patriarchal language systems. Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak's essay, Can the Subaltern Speak, published in the year 1988, represents intersectional feminist criticism examining how gender interacts with colonial power structures and challenging Western feminist assumptions. Now, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Which statement accurately reflects feminist criticism? A. It focuses primarily on formal aesthetic elements of literary texts. B. It examines how gender is constructed and represented in literature. Take a moment to think about it. You can pause the video if you want. And the answer is B. Feminist criticism examines how gender is constructed and represented in literature, analyzing the power dynamics and challenging patriarchal assumptions that have historically dominated literary production and criticism. This focus on gender construction was correctly identified in the July 2016 NET examination. Remember, feminist criticism is a literary approach that focuses on gender construction in texts and rejects the canonical marginalization of women writers. For your UGC NET exam, be prepared to identify key feminist critics like Susan Gilbert and Gubar or Showalter and understand their contributions to literary theory. In our next video, we will explore another important concept or literary term. Thank you for watching Literate channel. You can also comment your basic things that you would like to follow up in the future videos. Thank you very much.